taking their cues from President Biden and lobbing more smears at Republicans who are just fighting for election integrity laws, and moderate Democrats standing in the way of progressives. Listen.
I still feel like suddenly black people still are where we were under the Emancipation Proclamation.
If they want to go down in history as standing on the side of segregationists and those individuals who oppose people who look like me having free and fair access to the ballot, then we will remember them as such.
16 of them, as you pointed out, voted to extend the Voting Rights Act in 2006, passed unanimously. And now you can't find a single one that'll do the same thing.
It's because the Republican Party has transformed to the party of fear and fascism.
But Joe and the others conveniently forgot to mention the truth on who's really been palling around with segregationists. Then Senator Biden once bragged about being praised by George Wallace, who once called Biden a, quote, outstanding young politician. And Biden also once voted to restore Confederate leader Jefferson Davis's U.S. citizenship. Greg, so someone sent me an article that when I got moved to the 7 o'clock, CNN called me a flamethrower.
Yes.
I saw a lot of people throwing some flames at the top of that. I mean, Whoopi, the CNN guy, I mean, that's straight up nasty.
We're now seeing a new phenomenon, and I've coined it. It's called on the sideism. If you don't agree with me, you're on the side of Hitler. If you oppose my tax increase, you're on the side with Charles Manson. If you don't put the toilet seat down, you're on the side of Stalin. That's all this is now. If you notice, this is the I guess the structure of the insult now. And I love how whatever Joe was demonizing was actually always his side. And it kind of proves that, like, if you're in politics long enough, you know, you will be on the side of every issue, including now the evil side, because apparently he's condemning the side that he was on as evil.
Yeah. You used to be on my side.
Yes,
Judge. That's exactly what he's saying.
Yes.
But the country, does the country know that Joe Biden and the Democratic Party were the party of segregation?
Yeah, well, I don't know if the country knows that, and that's what I worry about. I think that there are low-information voters, and I think the Democrats are counting on them. Yeah. The people who just hear a phrase, or they just hear some celebrity that they like, you know, mouthing off about something, that all of a sudden, if you don't want illegals to vote, then you're on the side of Hitler, or if you don't show a vote, if you don't show an ID proving who you really are, you know, then you're on the side of, you know, Marxism or communism. I mean, they already admit they're on the side of Marxism, but communism, if that's considered worse. In the end, this is really about the low information voter. You've got smart people on the right, smart people on the left. The people on the left who are smart knows it's a bunch of hogwash. The people on the right knows it's an outright lie. All right. And then they rely on the people in the middle to get them into office. But in the end, I don't know that people remember that Joe Biden said, hey, this is great. George Wallace thinks I'm terrific. Or, you know, Strong Thurman, I gave a eulogy of him at his funeral. This is crazy. And you know what's worse? I don't think Joe Biden remembers doing that, because I don't think he remembers yesterday.
Is this a cable news situation, Geraldo? The president goes and calls Republicans segregationists, and then the very next day, all the people on the left on cable call the Republicans segregationists. Is this what we're watching?
Yeah, I think it's part of that. It is the echo chamber. I think that's right. You know, I've known Whoopi Goldberg for decades, but I have to say that her position on this is absolutely baloney. This is an insult to the memory of the Crusaders. There's nothing to do with the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863, when there was still slavery in this country. What this is about is unregulated mail-in voting, which was a function of the COVID crisis, and the voter ID. What's the big deal about having voter ID? I think, as I said yesterday, everyone in this country should have an ID. Why is that such a big deal? Why is it, are Puerto Ricans inherently incapable of getting an ID? I think that the federal government should issue IDs to every American. I know a lot of conservatives don't like that. Too bad. I think everyone should have the same ID. You go to vote, here it is. At the very least, there's nothing wrong with having a driver's license, social security security card. Everybody's got a social security card. There should be some easy way to prove who you are. So it's not just, as if it was a car wash coupon. You receive ballots in the mail. There's 3 adults, so you get 3 ballots. And then some political operative comes and collects them in a great big basket. I think it's bogus. It really do. And it is an insult. The Democrats are insulting me. This has nothing to do with Bull Connor, has nothing to do with, Strom Thurmond, has nothing to do with George Wallace, Jefferson Davis, the Confederacy, the Civil War. This has to do with common sense and each political party vying for the position that helps them accumulate more votes.
Geraldo's right, Dana. He's not only insulting Geraldo, which is just very offensive, he's insulting Democrats like Senator Mark Kelly, Senator John Tester, Senator Sinema, Joe Manchin. Those are Democrats who do not want to nuke the filibuster to pass this federal takeover of elections. What kind of strategy is that?
Remember, he said he would unite the country, and now he's even dividing his own party.
Yeah.
I mean, that is something else. Geraldo's right on the voter ID. If you look at the percentages, that's like one of the only truly bipartisan agreements that we have in this country is voter ID. So there's one thing against him. One other thing that people don't realize is in this bill is that it would allow states to take this option of spending taxpayer dollars to fund political campaigns, especially for anybody who is able to raise a lot of small dollar donations. Well, guess who that would be? AOC, for example. She's very good at fundraising with small dollars. Marjorie Taylor Greene, for example. Ted Cruz has a tweet that says, why would you guys want to give me $24 million? Because basically, if you look at his small dollar donations, if you went 6-to-1, as what this bill says you could do, that's incredibly unpopular all across the country. The other thing is, yesterday, the president said we must federalize elections because democracy is at stake. And then you ask the White House, what do you think about New York allowing 900,000 non-citizens to vote in municipal elections? And they'll say, oh, that's just a local issue. We're not going to pay attention to that. That doesn't make sense. So the RNC, the Republican National Committee, has sued in New York on that very issue. And also, this sort of went by me, in Vermont, they passed the same thing. The RNC is suing there, and it's likely that because, especially in New York, in our Constitution, it says you must be a citizen to vote, the RNC is likely to win on that.
Wow. Something got by you, Dana?
Yeah.
Shocking. Don't let it happen again. We can't afford it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.